What's going on, YouTube? Starting with you guys. That's how we roll. Welcome to the Way podcast. This is your host, Benargio. You can follow me on IG at Benargio. You can follow me on Facebook, Benargio. Good for you to finally join us. We've been doing some new things lately, so definitely excited to talk to you guys about that. But we're about to get started on our IG. So just bear with me as I put down our IG to start off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're live on IG as well. All right. So hope you guys had a wonderful week. Instagram, what's popping? You guys got to join us on our YouTube feed first and foremost. We have a nice little intro countdown to get this show started. Hope you guys are doing great. This has been a pretty exciting week. A lot's been going on, so I can't wait to get involved and get started. Hope you guys are well. So today we're going to have a pretty interesting episode. I kind of want to start off with, I don't really need this anymore because I know you guys can hear me. I kind of want to start this off with a funny story. All right. And this is for all of you folks who think you age gracefully. You know, this was my birthday was recently and, just turned another year. Praise be to the Most High. And one of the things that this birthday taught me was that you're not going to be young forever, right? And every birthday should teach you that. But this one definitely taught me that. We did some archery. My wife had set up something with a couple of my close friends and family members, and it was pretty cool. But after the birthday, right, went to the gym because I recently got a gym membership again. I wanted to get back into the gym. As you get older, as the grades start coming in, you gotta start taking care of your body a little bit more than you were in the past, right? So I'm out here trying to take care of my body a little bit more. And I get to the gym, I'm playing ball with these cats, these guys are playing ball with me, we're having a good old time. And then I get a nickname. They started calling me OG. I said, well, what? What are you calling me? What nickname did you just give me? And Original Gangster to me is one of those names that you give old people, right? Like you give someone that's been in the game for a long time that name, or someone that's kind of proven themselves. And it's like, wow, I'm there now. Dang, I got to really come correct then. So moral of the story is that you're always going to be as good as you feel. And sometimes if you feel your age, that's a good thing. And if others can compliment you for that, that's a great thing. But let's not let age catch us. Okay. Make sure that you're doing everything you're supposed to do in the time you're supposed to do it. So that's my funny story. Hope all is well. Revolutionels, good to see you, Janelle. Nice to see you. Wife, what's up? Congolese Kells, hey, what's going on? Nice to see you too. Just so you guys know, we are The Way. We're a nonprofit. We are out here giving folks, help with financial literacy, relationships, and philanthropy. Part of our philanthropic efforts is to help folks with final wills. We help them with wills, and if you haven't done a will yet, we can actually do one for you for free. So if you ever do want that service, just hit us up. And I know we have people in the chat that have can attest to that service. So yeah, definitely come and check us out for that. This year we have finally upgraded on a few things. So actually, just so you know, all of our equipment is now paid for. So, one of the things about going into podcasting is that you have expenses that continue to come, and, there are financial ways of getting through that. And it's so crazy to think that like a year ago, we went into, this idea of doing a podcast and making sure that we had all the right equipment to do that. I've never done a podcast before. This is my first one. So, lo and behold, 14 months later, we're still here. Our equipment's being paid for, and we're looking to invest even more into the business. So, it's really a testimony to folks who need to know, like, whatever your mission and passion is, you need to start that today. My wife actually gave me this message today, and I'm gonna give it to y'all in parts. I can't give you my whole message, just parts. And, just around the line of, what better time to start something new than right now? What better time to start something new than right now? Like, you could start at the beginning of the year. You could start in 2022, but why not just start that mission now? I see my brother JB on here. What's going on, bro? JB is in construction. He is a professional. He's learning the traits. He's learning the skills of how to be a professional carpenter, construction person. Like, why wait? Why not learn that now? And this is the thing. This is a young professional, give him another 20 years. He'll probably own his own construction company and be building skyscrapers in every major city that he wants to, right? Why? Because he started at a young age, putting down the bricks for his career. And Elliot Major, same thing. Like the folks that are in this room right now, you guys are you guys are the example that I have of looking at an idea that started off with you, with your efforts and your energy, and putting down all of the excuses, putting on all of the naysayers and saying, you know what? I'm going to have faith in me, because if I don't have faith in me, who am I going to have faith in? Right? Why should you push harder for someone else's, plans as opposed to your own? Like, you literally are the maker of your own universe. You're the maker of your creation. So if you're going to be successful in anything, you've got to be the seed power for that. Right? And once you can visualize it, once you can get to that space, it becomes yours. So folks, I appreciate all of you coming through. What's going on, Auntie? What's up? What's up? Nice to see you. If you guys can tell, I actually got a nice little friend over here. See this guy? This is my lion. I actually saw him at a establishment in the city, and I was like, "Yo, I'm taking you with me. Like, I'm not leaving here without you," because it's just a very good testimony to, like, there's certain items that you run across in life. You just got to kind of hang on to them, because you never know what type of juju they're supposed to bring you. So that's our lion. I don't know what I'm going to call him yet, but he's out here holding us down for 2022. All right. So today's episode, I was thinking about what to speak on, and I think, the ideas that came to mind was something around Hidden Colors number 3, which is about racism. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit. But I'm also going to talk about dollar cost averaging, and why, if you're investing right now, that is the strategy that you have to use right now, especially if you've been investing for this whole year. Like, we have folks that have been investing in oil from the beginning of the year. Folks have been investing in cannabis stocks. Folks have been investing in airline companies. Folks that have been investing in AMC. So all of you investors who have been putting down your ideas into stocks and bonds and mutual funds, and folks who are putting together their watch lists, I know you've seen this year. This year has been a year of hit and misses, right? Like, you have a lot of hits and a lot of misses. I actually have 9 stocks that I'm invested in right now that are all down. Every last one of them. None of them are higher than when I invested in them originally, earlier on in January, down up until now, right? So we're going to go through that idea first, because I think that's very relevant to folks who are investing right now, as a way to get through what's happening with your accounts, because I know your accounts look a little shaky, right? So we're going to talk about that first. Then we're going to go into the book that I spoke on last week, talking about the Love Busters, because there is some correlation to how that connects with your stocks. There's a correlation, and I'm going to show it to you. And then lastly, we're going to go into just some takeaways from 2021 financially as well as spiritually, and that'll be just kind of like an ad lib kind of conversation. So just bear with me on that one. That'll be what we wrap up the night on. All right. So I'm about to share my screen. If you guys haven't already, check out the link in our bio. Please add the way to your followed stations on YouTube. Right now, I'm going to head over there, and I'm going to pull up my screen so that you guys can actually see the screen that I'm going to share. I want to share this screen to talk to you guys about your stocks and why we're going to need to be doing this dollar cost stuff. So let's go into it. Pull up the screen here. Boom, here we go. All right, so my screen's up. So what I'm going to look up first is a company by the name of, which one do you want to look at first? I had this in my head already. Let's look at, let's look at Tilray, right? TLRY is their ticker symbol. They're a cannabis company, okay? We'll use them because they're a pretty good example of what I'm showing you here. So I'm going to go, if you're not following us on our YouTube, please join us over there. I have my screen being shared right now, so you can kind of see what we're looking at. So Tilray is a cannabis company. They're traded on the NASDAQ. I'm going to go back to a year so you can see their chart, okay? A year ago, Tilray was trading at $7. December 7th of 2020, they're trading at $7.77, okay? A year later, they're trading at $9.61. This is an industry that was supposed to have about $120 billion worth of revenue over the next 4 years, right? And over the last 1 year, it didn't do a damn thing. It went from 7, went up to as high as 29, and then just continued to, the pandemic obviously continued to just eat away at its opportunity, and now it's down to 961, right? So everyone who bought this stock when it was on its way up, let's look at the actual numbers here. So in January, I bought this stock as well. I bought this stock at $11, at $18, at $20, at $29. I even got as high as I got it at 29 too. I was buying it all the way up. Okay. If you bought Tilray this entire year, right? Or you started buying it when the stock was going up and then you stopped when the stock kind of crested, which was in February 15th. It took a dip down in March 1st. It's shot up again on March 8th and has never been at that level since. March 8th, this stock was trading at $27.57. And since that date, in March 8th, it has continued to lose position the entire time. Okay? Folks have been selling out of their positions, right? Cool. If you invested in the stock and you understand the industry and you understand where it's heading, there has got to be a place where your emotions are removed from this conversation and your strategic thinking takes over. Let me say that again. There's got to be a time where your emotions are removed from the conversation and your strategic thinking takes over, right? The reason why a stock's price goes up or goes down is based on trades. If you sell a stock, its price will go down. If people buy a stock, the price will go up. All you're seeing in the entire market for these stocks that you may have had for the entire year that have been just depressing since February for some of you have been doing it for a lot longer than that. You're seeing that there is a trend of folks selling their positions more than there are folks buying those positions. Okay. What does that mean for you? Because all of this doesn't matter if you don't know what it means for you. What it means for you is this is an opportunity to increase your share count. That's what this is. This year has been a year to increase your share accumulation. Okay? Share count, share accumulation, same statement. The amount of shares that you own. That is the nature of what a year like this is like. And anytime you see the market reacting to societal pressures, to pandemic pressures, to any of these things that you're seeing right now, this is your opportunity to buy more units of those stocks. I know it doesn't seem right. You have a stock, you're buying it at $29. Now it's worth $7, and Banaj is telling me to buy more of it. That doesn't seem right. I understand it doesn't seem right, but you can't look at it from an emotional standpoint, which is, well, I don't feel good because I had $1,000 and now it's $700. I've lost $300 in the stock. I don't like what's happening right now. Boom, bam, bim. Okay, that's where you are right now. But how many shares do you own? Because if we talk about loss, right? What did you really lose, right? You have $1,000 worth of stocks. Let's say that comes out to like let's say you're paying $100 a stock, right? Let's make it real easy. $100 a stock. You bought 10 of them. You got 1,000 stocks, $1,000 worth of stocks, right? The stock price of that example is now down to 700, right? So now what you had is $1,000 that you've invested into this stock is now dropped to 700. How many shares do you own still? Still have 10, right? Did the shares shrink in quantity? No. Did they increase in quantity? No. All that's happened is what people are doing outside is affecting the market price of it. But that doesn't matter to you unless you sell the position, right? So what I'm suggesting is looking at something like Tilray. You're here, right? You've invested in this. You're seeing a pattern saying that short term, it's a negative. Middle term, from 6 to 9 months, it's a negative. And beyond 9 months, are saying it's a negative, right? I will let you know that every time the market has been doing pandemic type of movements, or when it's in a bear market, anytime that happens, the outlook for every company looks like that. And all it takes to switch that is one news article, or one Fed Reserve move, or one pandemic positive news. All it takes is one thing for all of these indicators, performance outlooks, to change from where they are now to all green. That's happened multiple times over the last 15 years that I've been investing. I've been investing since 2006, right? That just before, as soon as I got in the market and investing in 2007, 2008, we had the market crash, right? That was the mortgage-backed securities issue. Cool. Just got into finance, and literally that October, everything went to a handbasket. I was like, what the hell? People were losing their shirts. Cool. Back then, all the outlooks on Yahoo Finance, all the outlooks on what's it called? Morningstar, all of them said the same thing. Market's tanking. Pull your money out or lose your shirt. But I'm going to ask you the same question now that I asked my clients back then. How many shares do you still own? That's it. Very unemotional, very quantifiable number that you can pretty much give me if you remembered what it was like 2 days ago and last month, if you didn't put any new money in. It's the same amount of shares, right? Cool. We have to adjust how we think long term when it comes to stocks. Do not think about the stock price if you're invested in a company that's long term going to be in a profitable position, right? You just have to fight through this part. Okay, cool. So Tilray is trading at $9.61, right? It used to trade at $26, which tells you that for one share of Tilray in February, you can now buy three, almost three, 2.5, 2 and change, right? 2 and 2/3 for the same amount of money as a share that you bought in February, right? So if I asked you, let's say you have a car, your car is worth 30 grand, right? And in February, your car was worth $30,000, right? Would you sell that car today if I told you the car can only be sold for 30 to about 10 grand? Would you sell it today? Probably wouldn't sell it today. If you bought it for $30,000 in February and today it's worth 10,000, right? You wouldn't sell it. Now, what if I told you the opposite story? What if I told you you didn't buy the car for 30,000 in February, but that same car that's worth 30,000, you can get it for $10,000 right now? If you had 30 grand in the bank, how many of them would you buy? If you knew that that car's actual market value was accurately supposed to be 30 grand. So think of a $30,000 car. That could be a Honda Accord 2020, right? $30,000 vehicle, right? If I told you that I can give you a Honda Accord for 10 grand on a discount, but it's worth 30 grand, how many of you would buy that car immediately, right? That's the same logic you have to apply when it comes to stocks today. What's going on, Mr. Ward? How you doing, brother? We're talking stocks and we're talking about the opportunity right now. So everybody that bought Tilray in February for $24, I'm going to implore each of you to reinvest into that stock and buy more shares at 9. Because what's going to happen is all the shares you bought at 24, when you buy the new shares at $9, right? The average cost of what these shares cost you over time is going to shrink. And that's a good thing, because the lower the cost is of your stocks overall, the more profit you will make when they go back to their original numbers. That is a strategy that you guys have to use right now, because all of you are experiencing losses in your stocks accounts. My 403B at work, right? Over the last year, I made 42% on that. And I didn't even like actively trade in there. I have it set to a certain bunch of allocations. I have some international, I have some real estate, I have some, I picked out my mutual funds that are in there, but I didn't do anything. Literally, it is now a 42% gain, right? So what did I do? This is my own personal strategy. This is what I do, right? I literally pulled out as much money as I could out of my 403B right now. Do you know why I did that? There is a strategy that I use at the end of the year that folks don't realize how useful it can be, especially when you've had a 42% gain the year before. So there's an option that you have in certain retirement accounts where and this is a personal story also, you guys can bear with me here. This is me giving you guys some tea. So enjoy the tea, okay? So there are some options in your retirement accounts, whether it's a 401k or 403b, where you can take out a loan from your 401k or your 403b. Okay, you can check with your financial person or your HR department, see if they have it on your plan, and if they do, you might want to consider this. So anytime you want to invest into a new business, right? You usually have to get a loan, or you have to get financing from a private person, from a bank, from wherever, right? But did you know that you're actually a bank yourself? And that your retirement account is actually a bank as well, right? There are some requirements that you need to qualify to get money out of your retirement account. And it's really rare that you would actually ask someone to do that. But I think this is a perfect storm for why we can have this conversation, because it actually can make sense right now. And it does make sense. That's why I did it. So the reason why, and I'm giving you guys some really, this is like application, legit application. A lot of guys out here that talk this talk, they don't tell you what they're really doing, right? I'm telling you what I'm really doing. So because I made 42% last year, right? I know that I was buying and accumulating shares and investing in different things. I know that I'm not going to make 42% this year with that portfolio. Pretty sure of it, right? Cool. So what did I do? I pulled out my money at the top, right? A lot of people talk about, you buy low and you sell high. That's what people say, right? And when it's high, you don't buy high and sell low. You do the other way around. Okay, cool. The reason why you buy low and you sell high is that you lock in your gains that you can then use for whatever purposes you want. In a 403b, and some plans have this provision, when you borrow money against your 403b, you're borrowing money against yourself, right? Which you're going to pay over time. You can pick a 12-month pay period back, a 2-year pay period back, whatever it is. And you can take out and they'll literally come out of your check, the direct deposit. Like literally that goes straight to the 403b plan, right? When you borrow money from yourself, you're not paying a finance person for that. And they charge you an interest for the money you're borrowing from yourself. But the interest goes into your account. It doesn't go to a third party or to the actual financial company. So literally, you're paying yourself interest on money that you've invested for some purpose in the future, but you're getting access to it today, right? So for folks who are looking to start off the year with a new business, folks who are looking to pay off certain credit card debts before the end of the year to get their FICO score or the Bradstreet score, which is a business FICO score, get that up and running, whatever your purposes are, you can literally leverage your own retirement to do this. Now, it's not advisable to take money out of an account that's growing because, again, there's 2 ways to make money: you earning it every day, hourly, or the investment's making the money. But because I have a forecast in my mind that the market is going to continue to be in a bearish state or have a major correction coming soon, I figure that I could make more money off of my 42% gain myself than those mutual funds that I've selected in my 403b account will make. As a matter of fact, I don't think that they're going to make the gains that I'm going to make when I take this money out. So what I'm doing is I'm leveraging and pulling out gains. My account is not going to have a 1099 exchange of any kind or any type of taxable issue because it's a loan from my policy, which is a provision that I can use without having to worry about the tax implications, right? I get access to the cash that I want, and then I can reinvest it in whatever I want now outside. So yeah, I'm paying an interest to myself, which pays me anyway. I'm invested. I have my money in cash to invest in depressed stocks, which the entire market and all things I've invested in before are all low. So I can get maybe 2 or 3 times the amount of stocks that I could have, that I could have had in February. I can get them now. And if the market decides to rebound, which it will eventually, all of those 3 times, 4 times, 5 times discounts that I'm getting today will literally rebound those accounts to surpass what the hell I just had to pay in interest, which was be 5%, 6%. And because my money wasn't in my 403b at the time, when the market is going to continue to go down, which it will, I'm not, the money that I took out isn't experiencing those losses because they're in my hand. It's in cash. So the way it works is like, let's say you have 20 grand in that account, right? And you borrow 10. The 10,000 now comes out of your account balance, right? And that's mostly gains, right? So it comes out of your account balance, and all that's left there is 10,000. If the market tanks, then that 10,000 will go down, but not the entire 20,000 that you had because you have 10,000 in cash sitting aside. Now look at this. You can't reinvest that money at a better time than when it's going down, right? So let's say that I didn't do anything different. Let's just say all I did was take out my $10,000 in this example, and my remaining 10 shrinks to 5,000. The market has a 50% correction, right? That means everything that was in my account has now shrunk by half. I could literally take, in this example, this $10,000, reinvest it back into my 403b right now and double my money without having to buy anything outside. Let me say this again, because I think I may have lost you guys. I'm gonna go back and tell so this example, you have $20,000 in your account, right? You take out 10. And you borrow 10, sorry. So now there's a loan for 10,000, okay? Cool. The 10,000 that's remaining in the account experiences the market correction that we're going to see soon, right? Let's say it drops by 25, 35%, 40%. That means all of the values, all of the mutual fund options, everything that you have in there is going to shrink by 25% or 40% or 50%, right? Which means that the cost of those units inside of that mutual fund are also down by 45%, which means you can get them for 45% discount. Like everything is cheaper now, okay? If all you did was repay your loan back the next week after having seen that drop, you're going to have accumulated literally double the amount of shares that you lost. I said this is a quantity game, right? It's a quantity game. The goal right now is to just deal with quantity and not worry about market price. Because if you're invested in things that are long term, you're going to have no choice. You're going to have no choice but to see the quantity be at a discount and be gains. So for me, this is why we've got to be strategic about how we spend our money, how we transition our money, how we leverage our money. Because there are people who literally do the same thing with their banks, where they take a little bit of money off of they call it a margin account, right? You're basically borrowing money from the bank to spend it and invest it in certain things. If you lose money, you're losing everything, and you have to pay the bank double. If you gain money, you gain that back, and you have to pay the bank. The only difference is the bank's interest doesn't come back to you. Your interest does. So for me, if I have a choice between getting a margin account at my bank and letting the bank let me borrow their money at a certain interest rate, no matter what I invested in, I have to pay the bank back every month on that rate, as opposed to borrowing it from myself. The interest goes back to me. I get access to the same cash. If I make the money, it's mine. If I lose the money, it's mine to lose. And I'm paying myself back in interest regardless, tax-free. What? These are things that you got to look at. These are things that you have to have an idea that they can work. And if you've never thought of this before, well, this is a perfect storm for this, because I see a correction happening. It's gonna happen. It's already happening. If you look at these accounts, look at Tilray. Look at what we're looking at right now. Like, add to stream. It went from $26 to $9. That's already a correction. That's a correction of what, 60%, right? So you're already experiencing that in your accounts. My thing is, why not leverage wherever you did make gains in a way to actually make those losses less terrible, right? And remember, the cannabis space is a beginning industry. It would have already blown up if we weren't all quarantined. If we weren't already quarantined and we wasn't able to have transportation back and forth and logistic issues, all of these things that are happening are literally propagating this issue. This is not an actual problem. This is a economic standstill. But you have to invest for longer than just this specific standstill. You have to invest beyond it, or else you're going to get stuck here. So for folks who are following, all I'm suggesting is there are creative ways to get financing for certain projects. And if you have an idea, if you have a business idea or a vision that you want to see come to fruition, this is the time to invest in yourself and figure out how you can make that become a reality. If you can find financing that's creative, whether it's from family members, whether it's from your own retirement accounts, because again, if you made a really good year last year, like I said, I made 42% year over year. Okay, I'm going to take some of those gains and use them to invest in other things. It's my money. Why not use it for your advantage, right? And one of the reasons why people can borrow from their retirement accounts as well is to purchase a home or to purchase their first property. So even if you have a real estate idea where you think that the market's not going to do as well and you want to buy property that can guarantee you a certain level of revenue, listen, your retirement account is literally your nest egg to buy or to create assets, period. Why not utilize it for that purpose, right? If you had a business deal where you could buy a property for 20 grand or 30 grand and you have 100,000 in your retirement account, why not leverage 30,000 of that, buy the property? Now, instead of you just having 100 grand in your account, you got 70,000 in your account, but now you own a building that's worth $250,000, $300,000 as an asset. So now you have a $300,000 asset plus your 70 grand. Last time I checked, 370 is more than 100. Right? That's the point. Use your nest egg to create the wealth that you seek. Use your nest egg to leverage and buy assets. There is a difference between buying assets and buying expenses. There's a big difference. And you do not want to be stuck in a place where you're buying or investing in expenses. I've told my wife a lot that I'm looking at getting this Tesla. That's just a car that I understand is an investment. It is not just a car. Like literally, my current car, I have 360,000 miles on my car. What is that in kilometers? Are there any Canadians in the room that can give me the T on how much that is in kilometers? 360,000 in km. 360,000 miles. 360,000 miles. There's my little girl. Miles in kilometers is 579,363 miles. So 579,363 kilometers I've driven in my car, right? 360,000 miles. That car is still running well. Like I can sell that car for a premium because I've invested a ton of money into it, right? It's no longer an expense for me. It is an asset now. So whatever I put into that, that's just literally for my benefit or for the benefit of whoever I sell it to. Tesla is the exact same thing. Those cars upgrade themselves and they have a 1,000,000-mile warranty, which means that you can drive that vehicle for 1,000,000 miles before any drivetrain issue happens that you have to pay for. I say this is an investment. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're investing in solar and you can charge that car from the sun, you have eliminated the entire use for fossil fuels. That is an asset to me. So if you're going to pay a little bit of money for a vehicle, why not pay for one that will cost you nothing or very little, right? So we have to look at all of the things in our lives. And this is 2021. This is the year of coming to realizations and seeing the truth of things, right? So when you realize how you spend, when you realize all of the things and opportunities that you are no longer in position for because you may have invested the wrong things or you may have not invested at the right times, all of these things that can happen, right? When you realize now your truth, what are you going to do about it? What different changes are you going to make for 2022 to not have it end up like 2021, right? Because again, you're learning a lot of things. You're reading books. You're interacting with folks who are woke. You're interacting with people that are in your communities or that are in your cities and on social media, on Clubhouse. You're gaining knowledge and wisdom and understanding. What is all that for if not to apply to your life to make it better, right? I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine who lives in South Africa, and he has a very non-South African accent. And another South African young lady came on, and she was like talking to him. He's like, "Hey, you don't sound like you're from South Africa. Like you actually don't even have a South African accent." And I'm listening to him. I'm like, "Yo, you sound mad South African to me." She thought he sounded more American than South African. I'm like, he doesn't sound American at all, all because of perception. But it was so beautiful to be able to interact with folks on the other side of the world about accents and about life in general and like how things are different, right? That's what 2021 was about. Like you got into spaces and places with people that you may have never even known existed in 2020 or in 2019. Why? Because of a pandemic. It forced you inside. It forced you to have to find new ways of connecting with people. And it also opened up and expanded who you could connect with and what you can connect with. So now you have a plethora of connections, opportunities, information, access. What the hell are you going to do with it? What are you doing with it? How are you applying all of the things that are in front of you to make the lives of your loved ones better and your own? You know, it was funny. I had an aha moment today. I was listening to my wife talk and I was just like, man, I can't wait for 2022 because I feel like when everybody is in a space where they're letting their creative genius flow and they're no longer thinking, they're just communing with self. They're not even using thought. You're using like a cosmic vibration to communicate. You're just telepathy, right? When people get into that space, the amount of things that they can create is epic. Goddess Mia, what up? You know, when you see the people that are around you and the people that are in your circles and you listen to them, you can kind of tell when somebody is on the right sauce or they're not. And my thing is, take into account everything that you're hearing and don't just listen to it. Absorb what is being sent to your spirit. Like, I don't know how to tell you guys that thinking isn't it. Stop thinking about things. Just be things. Because when you think on something, it becomes real. It becomes an actual thing. But what if I told you that it was already real before you thought about it? What if I told you that the cycle, the loop was always there? It didn't have to be thought of for it to exist. It was already in existence that you just had to bring it to the forefront. That's it. All we do is we pull things from where they are to our observance. It's all we do. They're already there. But some people don't see it. until it's pulled into their observation. When you're observing in that way, ideas come. You get this creative gene where you can create all different types of new things, whether they be products, opportunities, positions, jobs, just ways of life for folks around you. Like I was mentioning this in Clubhouse the other day that as I'm deepening my spiritual journey, I'm realizing that the folks around me are literally deepening theirs. And I don't know if it's because of the energy or just because that's just the way that the earth is right now. But the deeper I go into where I'm supposed to be, the more the people closest to me are doing the same thing for themselves. And I've seen such improvements and growth in all of my close friends, my family members, my little girl. Like everybody is just developing so quickly and beautifully. And it's like, yo, everyone's on their game right now. So I got to be on mine, get to the gym, work out, make sure I'm eating right, make sure I'm fasting when I'm supposed to. All of these things are important. And when I see my family, that's online, like my BRS family and the folks that I grow with and that I spiritually have a connection with, you know, we're not close to each other. However, we've never been closer. Like there is a collaboration and a spiritual connectivity that I'm experiencing that I've experienced for the last 8 months, 9 months, with folks that I've never even seen, but that I felt, right? And that I know who have my back. And that to me is a beautiful thing that no one can take away from you. And when you get to a space where you see people that way and you interact with their spirit, not even them, but their spirit, like there's a difference. Like it's gonna be a good 2022. And one thing I'll encourage you all is that listen to yourself. There are times where you're given an idea and people may talk you out of it, but you got to listen to yourself because you're getting every message, you're getting every answer. But if you're not actually listening to yourself and you're listening to everyone else's desires for your life, but not your own, you're going to miss it. And it's going to go to somebody else because every idea is cosmic and universal in nature. It doesn't belong to you, it belongs to everyone. But only the few that pick up that calling and that move in that direction will benefit from it. So everyone gets the same opportunities in this life to do things that are going to be universally the best course and the best path for themselves, right? But if you don't listen to yourself and you're following everyone else's idea for your life, you're not going to be able to get to that place because you're too busy chasing and you're not just allowing it to come to you. There is a magnetism to your path. There's a magnetism to it. And you ruin that magnetism when you do not interact with self, when you eat poorly, when you're around toxic people. All of these things demagnetize you. So instead of that dream of yours coming directly to your spirit and just coming to you, literally, because it's coming your way, instead of that happening, you're rejecting it spiritually because you're allowing other energies to partake of your being, of your energy, of your vibration, as opposed to letting that just expend from you to other people and allowing that magnetism to just bring only those who are supposed to be near you. I had a conversation with a worker today, and the connection was like, wow, like you're doing big things right now. And I like that because last year you weren't doing anything big. Last year you were just thinking about doing big things. And this year you're doing all of the things that you thought about last year. One of my close friends, actually a brother of mine, he actually pointed out that I was at one of his shows a year ago to the date that I went to his most current show. And the amount of leaps and bounds progress between that first show that I went to and the one that I went to this past week, you wouldn't even know like that, that this hadn't been happening for like 10 years. Like this guy is literally crushing all of his visions. All of the ideas that he had, he's running through it. He's doing it all. And now he's expanding on that because again, 12 months later, the fruits of what you're planting today, they will blossom in a year. They will. So if you don't plant today, you're not going to eat tomorrow. So planting for me is investing your energy into things today that are going to be useful for your family and for yourself 12 months from now. Do you have the patience to wait for that harvest? Right? Do you have the patience? And do you have the determination to continue to push even when obstacles come your way? Because in this life, the obstacles are what makes it the best. Without obstacles, your life would be boring as hell. You wouldn't even know what to do with yourself. But because you have challenges and because things aren't going to go your way every time, it makes for an interesting story. It makes for an interesting existence because nothing's predictable. Everything just kind of moves and jives. And as you move, it moves. That's the beauty of it all, right? So, folks, let me start off by saying I appreciate and value this journey that I've had with you all because I've seen everyone that's on this live right now. I know you all, and I can just say that over the last 12 months, you've all been doing big things. Period. Right. And to me, that's a beautiful thing because we're sharing a space now where you're here with me. I'm here with you. I can't hear you, but I can feel you. And we're growing together as a unit, all because we'd made a decision, to be a part of something bigger than ourselves in our individual lives. Right. That is the type of energy that 2022 has to have. And like my lady was saying, why wait till next year to start your stuff? Start your stuff now. I mean, every day you wake up is another opportunity. So take advantage of that, right? So one thing I'm going to talk about real quick, because I know we got 45. Oh, 3 quarters are already done. Got 15 minutes left. Okay. So last week we talked about a book. I'm going to pull up my share screen here. Talked about a book, and the book was Love Busters, right? Love Busters list. Boom. All right. What are the Love Busters? And I'm going to pull them up. So they are selfish demands, disrespectful judgments, angry outbursts, dishonesty, independent behavior, annoying habits. These are the 6 love busters that will destroy any marriage or relationship, right? Now, last week we talked about this book, and I hope that some of you have taken the chance to go and read this because again, it's a beautiful conversation starter. If you're dating people, bring this up when you're dating. If you're married, bring this up. If you're in a long-term relationship, bring this up because I guarantee you're going to connect with some of these things that are destroying your opportunity for love. And I'll tell you how this connects to finance and investing that we were just talking about, like taking advantage of the lower cost of stocks right now. So in the idea of love busting, right? It's basically predicated on a concept that love is basically artificial. What does that mean? Well, it means that as long as you're increasing your love units, which we can say shares of love, like let's say love was like a stock. Let's make this Wealth Wednesday. Love is a stock traded on the Nasdaq and on the Dow, traded on everything. Okay, cool. S&P, it's a part of everything. Love is a stock. Okay, stock symbol LUVE. Spell it weird, right? So let's say love is a stock. This book basically says that you have a choice. When you meet someone for the first time, you can either buy love stocks and continue to buy them, or you can sell them. But in the beginning of every relationship, you start off by dropping like a ton of money on your love stocks. You drop 100 grand. So when you meet somebody you're in that honeymoon phase, you're going to drop $100,000 in your love stocks. Okay. That's how this starts. So you ever know that oh my gosh, Romeo, oh Juliet, da 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 da. You get this feeling of love for somebody, and like it's like the goggles are on, and you're seeing everything rosy. That's you depositing 100 grand into your love credits, okay, into your love stock. Cool. Now we start with $100,000, right? This book basically says that love busters are essentially the exact same as someone working in your love portfolio, selling your shares of love for this person. And remember, the more love shares you own, the wealthier you are, aka the more love you have in that relationship. Okay, cool. So you have this nefarious little person sitting in your stock portfolio, right? And his or her own job is literally to, if you create a love buster and you do a love buster, they sell your love shares. They sell 10 at a time, 20 at a time, depending on how bad you are. They'll sell 50 at a time. Before you know it, your 100 grand has now been depleted down to 90 grand. Then depleted down to 70 grand. And if you continue to have love busters in your relationship, this person in your account is going to sell until you're at zero. And when you're at zero, there's no love. You hate this person. This is now divorce. This is now I want to kill you. Like this is that. Okay. So the book talks about love just as we talk about stocks. The more of them you accumulate, the more you'll have. The more wealthy you'll be, the happier you'll be, right? Told you I'd connect these two things. I'm gonna connect them now. So, just like the Love Buster book mentions that love can be grown and love can continue to survive through thick and thin as long as you're adding to that love bank and adding to that love stock purchase, continue to purchase stocks. So can your wealth. As long as you're buying into love, aka stocks, mutual funds, assets, whatever it is, you're going to increase your ability to have happiness, retirement, wealth free, being able to like live off of your interest. Once you're creating an idea where assets are key and king, queen, whichever, you're going to be fine. And your relationship with money will be healthy because you're continuously adding to the assets. You're continuously growing your portfolio of money or of love. And there are love busters in finance. There are love busters. There are things that you can do in finance that will ruin the love or the amount of assets that you have because they are just inherently bad for accumulation of wealth, right? What's a love buster in finance? Spending on expenses. That's a love buster. If you rather buy food out at the restaurant as opposed to cooking food at home, that's a love buster for wealth. Because it will be much more difficult to be wealthy if you're not investing in things as opposed to spending on expenses that do not come back. Cool. What's a love buster in finance? Selling when your stocks are high. Selling when your stocks are low, I'm sorry. So let's say you bought stocks at a certain number and they depreciate in value, but they're a long-term investment and you sell them down here, that's a love buster because that's preventing you from being able to take advantage of the gains when it rebounds. The stocks do this, they fluctuate up and down. A love buster is when you buy high and sell low. That's a love buster, right? That's something that will destroy your ability to accumulate wealth. Just like in this example of love busting, if you have selfish demands, that's going to bust your love. Like if you are in a relationship and you just tell people what to do, hey, get me this. Hey, you do that right now. If you ask a question and when you get a no, you're mad. That's a demand. That's not a question. I don't know if the women in the room know this. Like women, I know men. I don't know. I don't know me. I can only speak for men. I think I can't speak for. I speak for myself. I ask questions and I expect either a yes or a no. Some women that I've met, they don't like no's at all. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of men that I've met too that don't like no's either. You say, "Hey, can we go on a date?" And they say, and as a woman, they ask a woman out on a date, and she says no, and he's like, "Whatever, you're a B anyway." Da 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 da, and they get all hot and heated. I'm like, "Yo, bro, she said no. Why are you mad? You're mad because you made a selfish demand. You're mad because you didn't want to get a no. You asked that question to ask her on a date because that was about you and not about her or growing a relationship or anything like that. It wasn't about any of that. It was about you the entire time." And that is a love buster, right? So we all experience this on both sides, whether it's men or women. Like we experience love busters all the time with things like selfish demands. Those are toxic traits. And if you're in a relationship where that's what you're going to back and forth, well, you're going to have a difficult time learning to love that person if every time you're supposed to do something, you can't say no. So love busters, they work in not only relationships, but also in your wealth creation. Respect my sacred no. Exactly, right? I say no more often than I say yes. I tell you, I'd rather take back a no and give you a yes than take back a yes and give you a no. So I'd rather start with that. That's my dad taught me that one. It's just the way I live. So the other love buster we'll talk about is disrespectful judgments. So this would be, for an example, let's say that you have a bad habit of leaving the toilet seat up, right? And someone says, or like, let's say you're a man and you leave the toilet seat up all the time, and you have a woman and she's like, "Yo, you're disgusting because you leave the seat up. That's nasty." Instead of you saying, "Hey, I'd appreciate if you just put the seat down because I don't want to fall in the bowl. That's not okay." You made a judgment and call this person nasty because they have a habit that isn't necessarily benefiting you, right? If we spoke to everyone that way, how far would our relationship go when it comes to love? Do you think you can build with someone that does that to you? That constantly tries to find ways to pick at your worst parts, and instead of helping you to benefit or to learn from them, they're using it as like a dagger to stab you with it. Like how long is that going to last before that stops working for accumulating love units, right? So it's these little things that we have to look at. And I think the year of 2022 should be the year that toxicity is no longer a thing. Like if you didn't see enough toxic it's in 2021, You weren't around. I don't know. There was a lot of toxicity going on in 2021. I'm gonna tell you. So in 2022, there should be no tolerance for that of any kind. Like it should be to the place where your spirit won't even allow you to be okay sitting in toxicity. Like your spirit will say, "Hey, get out of here right now, or I'm leaving you here." And you'll be like, "Oh, spirit, you're not leaving me. I'm not. I'm coming with you." Right? That's how it's got to be in 2022 because we don't have any more time. Time is up. Like there's no more time for folks to do nonsense and think that we're going to be waiting around to see how it turns out. If you're waiting around to see me see you, see your nonsense, you're going to be sitting there alone because I'm not here for that. There is a very low threshold that I have now. And 2022, it'll be even lower because the closer I get to me, the more I understand that I don't tolerate nonsense. If you know me, you know me. If you don't know me, you won't. That's just how it works because there's no time for that, right? This is the time where we have to be about our business. And if folks are aligning with you, then they'll be about collective business. But when that relationship comes to an end, it comes. It's okay. You have to move in your direction because you need to understand why you're here. You're all here for a purpose, and it's a divine purpose at that. Have you discovered it yet? And if you haven't, what are you doing to step closer to that? I remember my auntie was on the line right now. I remember when I spoke to her about a book, right? We got on the call probably at like 11 something. Me and this young lady, we sitting here talking till 2 in the morning about random stuff. Like it was all in the same line of the information that we were talking about, but the conversation trailed all the way off into a whole different realm. And we could have sat on that phone till 4 a.m. most likely, right? But I had to call it quits. I'm like, yo, auntie, we gotta go to bed. I'm tired. I don't know if you're tired, but I'm tired. We need to stop. We'll continue this tomorrow. But how did that happen? It happened because like-minded individuals who are vibrating the same way, if they get together, time just stops and things just move. Like it's just a thing, right? That's the kind of relationships that I want you all to have in 2022. Relationships where no matter if it's up or if it's down, it's always bless. And not even be blessed, because blessed is actually a word that's a curse. I don't know if you guys actually know this, but it's spiritually asking you to be lessened, blessed, be blessed, right? So when you say have a blessed day, you're saying have a blessed day. But you don't, but again, here's the thing about English, right? As a God, English is whatever my intentions are behind the words that I use. So if I don't have an understanding of myself and I use words that can be curses to other people, they could receive it that way. But because I know who I am, and if I know my intention behind the words that I use, I can say have a blessed day and actually mean for you to have blessings, or having not even to be less, but to be showered with amazing gifts and a cosmic universe rays. If that's what is in my mind as I'm saying those words to you, that's what it means to me. And that's what I'm sending to you. So just know that words mean nothing. You make them mean something, period. You can pick any word you want and turn it into love. You can pick any word you want and turn it into hate, no matter what it is. And you can see examples in the English language because it's a bastardized language. It's not even like it's the worst language in the world. But perfect example, pick one. So for me, and we'll wrap this up because we got 3 minutes. I will say that my wish for all of you is for you to have healthy relationships in 2022. For you to start though with having a healthy relationship with yourself. One thing you'll realize is the relationship you have with you will determine the relationship you have with everyone else around you. When the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all other things will be added onto you, it is not talking about a place that is on some continent somewhere that you've never been to. It's not talking about a cloud that you're going to be escaped into and then there's a mansions of gold. It's not talking about that. The kingdom of God that the Bible references isn't even from the Bible. It's from our ancestors. It's from our actual culture. And the kingdom of God that they're referencing is inside. It is deep inside. It is not a place that you can physically see right now, but it's a place that you could be a part of every single day. if you knew that it was there. And one thing that I will give religion a credit for is giving us the truth, but cloaking it in foolishness. Gave you the truth. The Bible is full of truth. The apostles full of truth. Their names aren't real, but the stories are. The lessons are. Yeshua is. Like, these are real people who did real things, and their stories are being told. But they're told in a foolish way. And you're taking it literally when it's both spiritually to be like it's supposed to be observed, and like it's supposed to be taken within, right? So I will tell you that the kingdom of God that I've discovered isn't a place that's going to come from a cloud down into earth. It's a place that's already here, and you can get there if you just looked inside and actually find it yourself. No one can show you where it is. Only you can show yourself, because you left enough breadcrumbs for it. We have, in this experience that we have right now, we've actually left cosmic breadcrumbs that we're going to have to follow to get back to who we were. And we did it on purpose. It was a choice. You all in your lives have left cosmic breadcrumbs for yourselves to follow the yellow brick road back to where you're supposed to be. Don't ignore that. Follow the breadcrumbs. Be patient with yourself and understand that when they come your way, other people's breadcrumbs are not your own. Sometimes the breadcrumbs you've given to other gods and goddesses to give to you. So sometimes when you hear a message from somebody like, yo, you don't resonate with me, but what you're saying does. That could have been a breadcrumb that you needed to hear at that time to remind you of the path that you should be on. Cool. But that person's interpretation of your breadcrumb, don't accept that. Know what you're supposed to know. Know what you know for yourself. Don't let anybody else's idea of who you are tell you who you are. They don't know. Only you know. Look within. So, folks, I am wrapping up. So I told you that I would connect it, right? I told you I'd connect Love Busters with finance, and we got to it. So anyway, so folks, right now is the best time to dollar cost into your investments. Buy more units if they're discounted. If your stocks have depressed, gone down by a third, purchase more shares at those lower prices. Take advantage of that. Find creative ways to utilize the funds that you've made over the last 12 months, because over the next 12, it's not going to look as pretty as this last 12 for some of us. So make the best of it. Be good to each other. Start preparing for 2022. Get rid of toxic relationships in your life. Add and start that with yourself. Like, start to not have a toxic relationship with yourself first, because everyone that I know who is in a toxic relationship, it started with you. It started with you. Whether you want to hear this from me or not, it started with you. You were toxic. That's why you attracted that. And you have to purge that part of you so that you can get to the wholesome, righteous part of you. Because when you get there, no toxic habit can stick to you. No toxic behavior can stick to you, which means that toxic people that get to you, you're going to either throw them away or they're going to convert to being righteous, because you're going to force that. Because your energy of righteousness is stronger than any other energy on the planet, because it aligns with the earth and with all of your gods and goddesses that are around you. So, folks, love you, value, appreciate you. If you haven't, click the link in my bio, add the way on our YouTube channel so you can follow us on here. And just know that we are here for y'all. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And we'll see you guys next week, where I'm going to talk to you about hidden figures. Sorry, hidden colors. Hidden figures. I always mix those two up, right? Hidden colors number 3 and 4. I'm going to watch them tonight. And we're going to have an entire conversation about what these movies are about and why you all should have these, especially lining up for Kwanzaa. And next week, I'm going to talk about why I'm not celebrating Christmas. I'm celebrating Kwanzaa and other things that I will discuss. But we have no sympathy anymore. And that's going to be shown in our actions, not in our words. So, folks, IG, appreciate you. Love you. We'll catch you guys next week. All right? Be safe. And remember, don't love bust. And don't lose your investments because you're love busting your investments, okay? Learn to be healthy, learn to be wholesome. All right, peace out, IG. YouTube, thank you for keeping us live, keeping us straight. Appreciate y'all. I am super excited. If you guys can see that we are sponsored by StreamYard right here. Oh, nope, right here. Sponsored by StreamYard, but also The Way. Make sure you add us. We're going to be loading these podcasts onto our platform so you can have that. And we're on iTunes, we're on SoundCloud. So just add us, and yeah, we'll continue to see you guys. Until next time, be safe, be good, and we'll catch you guys then. Peace.